This is Newcap News with Nerman Esau.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Well, come next September, the border city may be rocking as a large music festival hopes to set up a home in Lloydminster.
We got barbecue!
This weekend wrapped up the first fundraising event for the Rock the Border Christian Music Festival. The group organizing the event feels it's a great idea for the community.
It's important because it shows the community that we care, and that we're also able to put on an event where you know, you don't have to drink and you don't have to do whatever to have a good time.
Even though it's labeled as a Christian rock festival, organizers want it to be open to anybody who'd be interested.
Everybody's invited out. Yeah, anybody who wants to come check it out. It's not, there's no pressure. It's not like a push type deal. It's just, it's a community event, right? And so we want everybody to feel welcome there.
Rock the Border is hoping to raise up to $100,000 so the concert can go on. Visit their Facebook page for details on how to donate. Well, Edmonton is boasting 2 new millionaires. As we told you yesterday, Lotto Max's massive $50 million winning ticket was sold to someone in Quebec, but there were several $1 million prizes to be won, and 2 of those were from the capital region. Now, there is no word on the winners' names just yet. Well, it's scorching here in the border city. We're under a heat wave as the temps for the next week are hovering around the 30-degree mark. So if you are planning on taking Fido with you on errands, you might want to rethink that. Now, this is video taken from a town in Ontario last week of a dog left in a vehicle with the windows rolled up. Now, 10 minutes is all it takes for an animal to overheat when stuck in a vehicle. Hot weather affects their cooling system to a more serious degree than a human. Now, signs of overheating are excessive panting, trouble walking, and thick rope-like saliva. Now, if you see a dog in a vehicle with the windows rolled up, you should call police. Well, the heat wave is tough to ignore this week, but some border city citizens found a way to cope. Now, with swimming pools and parks open, the kids all have something to do while they soak up the sun.
Oh, great. These guys are gonna go swimming at 3, and we've been playing in the shade and having freezies and enjoying Bud Miller Park.
Now, some are just glad for the better weather.
I do like it. It's awesome. It's better than cold.
Now, it's advised that if you are spending a lot of time outdoors this week, you should bring water to keep you hydrated and make sure you don't forget that sunscreen. Well, Emmett Murphy joining me on the desk, and then what a crazy story.
Ridiculous.
Like, no safety procedure at all.
I don't know what these guys are trying to prove here.
I don't know.
I know how to walk. I don't need to go over a gorge to do it.
Well, we're talking about extreme sports. You have something extreme on that end.
The Wheatland Extreme, the greatest lacrosse game I've seen this year. The Vermilion Roar and Wheatland Extreme met at Vermilion Stadium last night for a do-or-die one-game playoff series. The Extreme were in tough, facing an undefeated team that beat them twice this season and in the playoffs last year. But it was the Extreme who got on the board first. Brendan Peterson finds Ty Wright for the putaway. The Roar respond like they always have this season. Captain Randy Simmons pulls out some great stick handling to beat Jesse Robinson. And just after that, Simmons finds crowd favorite Randy Brown. That wakes up one of the most skilled players in the league, Brent McAllister. He barges through the Roar defense that allowed the 3rd least goals this season to knot the score up. Then, on the penalty kill, McAllister goes coast to coast, schools 3 Roar defenders, and buries one past Colton Batke. The Extreme leads 6-5 after 1 period. Second period, the Roar cut into the deficit. Dustin Todd shows some great individual effort, grabbing the loose ball twice, then scoring while being knocked over. Tied at 7, and they'd head into the dressing rooms tied at 10. The teams kept it close until the Roar's Zach Grant puts the low ball past Robinson with 1:55 left. Roar up 14-13. Right off the following faceoff, Brent McAllister leads the Extreme into enemy territory, and Keaton Meager fires a rocket all square with 1:46 left. Roar with the following possession. A collision sends the ball bouncing everywhere. Simmons comes out with it, dishes to Joey Ravery, who scores with just 1:11 left, setting up this.
Well, it felt exactly how I thought it was going to be a tight game for sure. I mean, Kit's got to be our rivals. It was going to be a game for sure, hell of a battle.
Well, we did a lot of changes in our game, so it wasn't running quite as smooth as maybe it would have if we would have tried that a little earlier in the season. But all in all, we just had a lot of good talent out there giving it their very, very best, and we just scored one less than we should have.
This game, and I give my hats off to Vermilion. It was an absolute great game. Best game I've ever played in my whole junior career. Just unbelievable. It's sad to be done, but this game, I'm glad it was this game.
I mean, this is only half the battle. We still got one more round to go for the leagues, so as you move on, that's how playoffs work. The farther you go, the tougher it gets.
The Lloydminster Reapers rugby were in action yesterday, hoping to keep their playoff hopes alive.
It was just the third home game of the season for the Orange and Black. The local turf had done little for the club before this weekend, having dropped their previous matches. This time around, the Reapers were in complete control of the game from the get-go. They scored 9 tries to run over the Saskatoon Gophers 53-14. Both teams were playing with shortened benches, but Reapers veteran Jeff Noble gave credit to the team's dedication to training for giving them the upper hand.
We get a lot of commitment. We get a lot of new guys that are stepping up and playing big roles, and it's starting to show. Our practices are paying off because it's hard to play in the heat of the day like this.
The Reapers' next game is scheduled for next Saturday at 4 against the Saskatoon Wild Oats at ES Laird.
The Lloydminster Rebels have had an up and down week at the Canada Cup in BC. After a hot start, the team trailed off and they fell to the loser bracket. That meant a long journey to the finals for the local girls. The Rebels mercied 4 teams in 24 hours, setting up a 5th game in just under 30 hours. The Rebels fell just short against the Delta 97s, losing 6-4. The girls were worked to the bone this week, playing 11 games in total, winning 7 of those contests, including 4 mercies in a row. They just missed the podium with a 4th place finish. Meanwhile, the Lloydminster Vandals football team was in Calgary this weekend for their 4th game of the Alberta Football League season. The Vandals were pitted against the AFL's other undefeated team, the Calgary Wolfpack, who averaged nearly 50 points for each game and had allowed just 7 points against in the 3 games combined. Even still, they were no match for the Vandals. The local boys took control of the Calgary end zone, coming home with a 38-28 victory and sole possession of first place in the AFL. That's your first look at Newcap Sports. Stay tuned for more news and weather after the break. It was a wild weekend in local sports with some amazing displays of individual talent. We highlight a few in the plays of the week. That's your look at Newcap Sports. Stay tuned for more news and weather after the break.
The island has...
That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Good night.
Wardrobe consultations and clothing provided by Cliff Rose for Clothes